Season of Plunder's main quest concludes today, and some crazy things happen for sure. The final piece of Nezarec, a pirate battle between the two leaders, and a mystery curse on the horizon. Welcome on in there, Guardians. Let's wrap up Season of Plunder. The final step for this story's quest happens this week. We may get some smaller hints throughout the season and maybe some type of epilogue, but this seems to be the bulk of the main story coming to a close here in the Season of Pirates. The journey this week starts once again at the helm, where Mithrax speaks about collecting the final relic. Ido has gone off on her own to the pirate hideout, and he wants you to look after her. Make sure you get the job done.
Guardian, you are close to securing the last relic of Nezarec, and we near the end of our mission. I have noticed no further communications between Eramis and her crews. I hope this means the worst is behind us. I did find, however, a transmission from Eramis to Ido. It was embedded in an unsecured scribe log. You may have heard it. I do not know what Eramis gains in speaking with Ido. We know the ship stealer only acts to her own benefit. But Ido shuns me. She studies the coordinates of the pirate layers without my assistance. I have never seen her behave this way. I cannot place blame solely on Eramis's influence. My actions pushed Ido away, though I meant only to protect her. She will see that in time. She must. Unless she has already made her choice. We must end this now, before something happens that cannot be undone. Claim the final reliquary and finish this conflict. May the light provide.
In the pirate hideout, we confront the third-party Lucent Brood once more, who are also after that relic. After pushing through and defeating the Horde Seeker, Ido is stuck behind a door. She screams for help and a cutscene begins.
Guardian, this layer is swarming with the Lucent Hive. We must not abandon caution now that our mission comes to a close.
Your presence is not necessary.
Ido, what are you doing here? Are you unharmed?
I will retrieve the last relic myself, without violence. The Hive.
Ido! Guardian, find her, please! She is my light!
I believe I am close to the relic. When we have it, Eramis will see the futility of her actions.
You risk yourself for her. She will never abandon her ways.
No, you both must face the past. You cannot outrun it. You cannot hide it from me.
Ido, please, forgive me.
No! The door is sealed! Father!
Ido.
your daughter who you really are. She could have had everything.
Mithrax storms in and confronts Eramis. They begin to battle each other with swords, which is pretty epic, and Mithrax knocks Eramis down. As he is about to cut her throat with his sword, Ido tells him stop, that Eramis saved her, so he should do the same and spare her life. Mithrax, not wanting to show his daughter the ways of his past, decides to back off, and Eramis escapes. This could be a little frustrating at first. Eramis is right there, and 1, Mithrax could have ended her dark reign right with that sword, and 2, our guardian is just standing there. I mean, I had a Trinity Ghoul ready to go if needed. The idea here could be that Eramis may change her ways in the future. From the dialogue here and the lore card in a bit, it could hint at this. But regardless, at this moment she does manage to escape in epic fashion, jumping off onto her catch, and still for the moment seems to bend her knee to the witness. As she flees, she says Ido could have had everything, and escapes. Eramis doesn't seem to care that Ido collected the final relic of Nezarec. We have them all now, and that could be very good or pretty bad. Do we harness the power, or do we get a terrible curse? Back in the Elixni Quarter, Drifter talks about being a good guy and congratulates us on the job well done. Our pirate crew had succeeded.
So, let me get this straight. Mithrax has Eramis at the end of his sword, and then nothing? I mean, nothing? Huh. I thought that guy still had some mean in him. Guess I was wrong. I was right about you, though. Gotta hand it to you, kid. You did a hell of a job out there. Drove Eramis off, stopped whatever plan the witness had, and brought home all the pieces of Nezarec. Not bad at all. Mithrax and Ido have the relics now. Don't know what those things can actually do, but if anyone can figure it out, it'd be them. Hope it's something good. Yep, nothing for you to do now but lay back in that big old pile of pirate treasure you got. You deserve it. And don't worry about giving me my cut, Captain. It just felt nice to be a good guy again. Trust.
Drifter does mention that we now have all the relics of Nezarec, and that Mithrax and Ido will continue to study them and see how they work, if we can use that power to our advantage. In previous weeks, the lore cards kinda hinted that Eris had an idea of what to do with these, but Drifter doesn't mention any of that here. Placing the final relic, Ido speaks of a curse of Nezarec.
Now that we've collected all the relics, Mithrax and I believe that we could harness their power. To what end, we're still uncertain. While I believe in our abilities, I am concerned about the potential side effects such a process could have. An ancient dirge I discovered describes something called the Curse of Nezarec, which is rumored to drain the life of the user. Of course, I don't give credence to such superstition. Dark Age humans were comically ignorant. Still, I would rather not take the risk. My father disagrees. I suspect he wishes to redeem himself for his past wrongs, and in that, I cannot dissuade him. We will continue searching for a method to unlock the relics. Until then, the light provides.
So you get the idea, this could be very good or very bad. Think about the Crown of Sorrow. These relics of Nezarec are said to have a curse. Is this why Eramis just let us have it? She said that Ido could have had everything, but now that she has the relics and may, get this curse, now she can't. Maybe that's why Eramis was trying to persuade her to the dark side. If Eramis is still devoted to the Witness and collecting all of these relics does induce a curse, this may have been the move for them the whole time. Just let us collect all of them. Lastly, for the quest at the quarter, Ido broadcasts to Eramis, trying to persuade her back to the light side. She could still be good and give the Elixni a chance.
Eramis Kell, again, I greet you in the light. Not as my enemy, but as my savior. You protected me from the Lucent Hive. Without your intervention, I would have died at their hands. I thank you. I was terrified, not only of the Hive, but of you. When you arrived, I thought it was to follow through on your threat. Then you turned and raised your blade against my assailants. But that same blade would have taken the life of my father if you'd had the advantage. I am not afraid of what you are, but I am afraid of what you do. The whirlwind led to you. It led to my father, but it led to me as well. We can see a future for the Elixni beyond the pain of the whirlwind. But you think you can't be a part of it. I do not believe that. My father spared you because he saw that you could turn from a path he had once followed. I see this also. I know the futility of this, but I will say it regardless. There is a place for you here. We need not be enemies. Come home, Eramis. May the light provide.
In the final week here, we have 2 lore cards, one from each book. The most interesting one that pertains to this week's story is found in the Between Stolen Stars book, and it's called Here Always. The console went dark. The message had ended. Eramis knew there would not be another. Come home, Eramis. Eramis closed her eyes. The words settled into the Kell's thoughts. They were heavy, sharp. She felt herself bleed with them. She had begged for death in the moment that Mithrax's blades were at her throat, and his mercy was a deeper wound than any. It was reopened now by the kindness of a child. Eramis remembered her home. Her home was Rhys, devastated by the Great Machine. Her home was Athris, her mate, sleeping in a ship long since departed from this system. Her home was her hatchlings at her mate's side. Eramis remembered watching them grow and molt, how they had chittered their delight and looked at her with their wide, luminous eyes. She would give her house to see those eyes again. But the brightness she had seen in Ido's eyes was a wide, blinding terror, not only of the Hive, of her. Come home, Eramis. Eramis lived. She lived and knew what the Elixni had lost. The dream of a new Rhys was delicate and beautiful. Eramis had held it in her hands, close to her chest for so long. She knew now that she had smothered it. In all the violence, in all the death that followed her, she curled her hands into fists. The dream of a new Rhys would have died with Ido if she had been left to the Hive in their putrid light. But Ido did not know Rhys, and neither did her father. They could look beyond that loss. Come home, Eramis. Eramis knew she would never see anything but terror in another's eyes. Eramis knew that the Elixni would find a new home with Ido. Eramis knew there was no place for her in it. So wow, that card is pretty cool and shows you how Eramis feels after receiving this terminal broadcast from Ido. The kindness of a child being Ido reopened Eramis's pain. She had a dream of a new Rhys. Think about Rhys Reborn back in Europa. But now she says this cannot be the way. Eramis sees there's no place for her in this new Elixni home that Ido would come to know. So it would seem Eramis did have some feelings of hope towards this whole situation, but kinda seems like she'll stay on the same path with the Witness. Anyway, Guardians, that's all we got for today's video, wrapping up the story of Season of Plunder, at least the main part of it. If you'd like to see some other Destiny lore and mysteries just like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Anyway, I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.